it's just becoming too commonplace in our time now. I mean, just the number of assassinations, I can't even keep up with it. The attempt. I mean, we had those Minnesota lawmakers like Fizzo. I mean, there's Trump. No, Charlie Kirk, and I know there's so many more. And then, of course, there's just Israel just going on an assassination spree, decapitating everybody in the Middle East. The Yemeni prime minister and his cabinet gone, Nasrallah gone, Hania gone. Raisi was a little sketchy. We don't know about the helicopter crash, but I'm
Right.
just so many. It's just, and it almost feels like there's some analysts and pundits out there that say that World War III has already begun. Maybe they're right, because like this type of violence is becoming so commonplace. Like, is this how it begins? We just start killing, political activists. We start killing prime ministers of countries and generals, politicians, candidates. It's like, I mean, we know how World War I started, right? Franz Duke Ferdinand, one shot. It's like, has it started? Like, is this what have we normalized? There's a boat in the sea with 11 people. Blow it up. Who cares? Just like Qatar's our ally. Let's bomb them. Let's drop a bomb. Like, what is going on? What is going on here?
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, again, I would say there has definitely been just a degradation of the culture, an increasing coarsening and acceptance of violence, in so many areas. There was, it was actually, I was reading something of course, Exhibit A is Israel. But in Israel, there really has been. I mean, actually, I'm struck by the difference. I was just reading something today that, hey, in past conflicts, for example, I guess it was the first Lebanon war, there were a number of Israeli commanders, there in the IDF who refused to carry out orders because they said this would just lead to too many civilian casualties. They disobeyed orders. They said, this is wrong. This is going to be, you're telling me to, to blow up this building, but I know for a fact that there are at least, a couple of families in there. I'm not doing it. And this happened on more than one occasion. And even in, like in Gaza in 2004, there was, I believe it was an Air Force, an IDF Air Force pilot that was told to take out a building, and he said, "I'm not doing it because there's absolutely no guarantee. There's every reason to believe there's civilians in it." He refused orders, but there has not been, apparently, not one instance. When so many more violations, every day, but there has not been one instance of an Israeli, soldiers just saying, no, I can't carry out these orders. Nothing like in the past, not anything of any significance anyway. It's something that the Israelis themselves have been commenting on. They've noticed there's been a change. This is Exhibit A, but it's something that's unfortunately it's just extended to us and whatever. They're just the kind of things that actually would upset us in governments in the past. Oh, they did terrible things, but they felt like they needed to lie about it or cover it up or whatever. But now you find, our people celebrating these acts of terror. These really these war crimes, and so yeah, like that's. As for the question of whether or not World War III has begun, I've heard, again, well-informed, intelligent analysts say that, yeah, it has begun. And I'll just say that they may be right. It's just too early. I don't think we can really call it World War III now. But if we continue on this trajectory, and then, it just seems like we're always talking about new wars and new, especially in the Middle East, where Israel just doesn't recognize any kind of boundaries. And that was shown, most clearly with this attack on a neutral country and a close ally of the U.S., Qatar, that's worked closely with the U.S. and with Israel in places like Syria in the past. I think, to nefarious ends, but they've worked closely together. And yet, they weren't spared. It just seems like there's the potential, we had that, I think it was really a non-incident that was blown up and described as an attack in Poland. It's just like we're always on the verge of, though the Russians have been careful, to keep it from expanding, there's always a danger that war too will expand into other countries, just like, we see, happening with the Middle East war. So at some point, they can all just come together, and we really could call it a world war. I think it's a little premature, but if it does turn into a world war, I think we'll look back and say, yeah, it was beginning back then.
let's hope we can look back. I mean, it's scary to think about a world war with such crazy, irrational people in charge. I just like, I don't know if we can make it through it if we have something like this. I just really hope cooler heads prevail, but it just seems like things are just spiraling out of
Yeah.
control bit by
Right.
bit. It's just like it's not. We've been doing this podcast for, well, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, and it just,
Right.
so much has happened in just
Yeah.
18 months, and it's just
Right.
getting worse, and it just, yeah. And the other scary thing, like we're just saying, is just kind of this poisoning of the soul where of our societies. And I think it's happened slowly. I don't know when it's happened, where all of a sudden that we have kind of accepted that, think this is okay, where we're in a society where, somebody can get shot in the neck while at a public, speaking event, and half the country celebrates. Like that's
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know
that's
if it's half the country. It may
not, yeah,
seem like
okay,
that
not
number.
half. Yeah.
But
Well, if you
right.
go on Reddit, it seems like, I know Reddit is
Yeah.
very left, but
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, I just, yeah, pray for the soul of the of the Western world. We've just we've slowly decayed. I don't think we've noticed. I think a lot of it just has to come with just, the rhetoric we've been using. We start using dehumanizing language with the other side, and then
Mhm.
once you do that, and you just call, the MAGA guys, they're all crazy cult MAGA maggots. They're not human. Oh, the lefts, they're just, just crazy radical. They're all trannies or whatever. You just start using this horrific demonic language. Or the worst example, of course, is what the Israelis do with the Palestinians, invoking Amalek, and saying that the Palestinians are just grasshoppers, less than humans. It just, and that if you adopt that rhetoric, people just, subconsciously, you are being poisoned because you're just being exposed to it, and it's like, oh yeah, those people, those are the bad people, right? Those are the evil people. We don't
Mhm.
care about them if they die. And it's just, I'm just disappointed in where we are, and I don't have a lot of faith in the future.
Yeah.